The Indianization of the Philippines. The peoples of the Southeast Asian region had its own civilization, culture, beliefs, and economy even before the Westerners set foot in the beginning of the 16th century. Many of the region's daily activities, religion, arts, and culture were influenced by its early trading partners, the Chinese, Indians, and Arabs. The region's principal traders before the Europeans came were Indians and Chinese, whose ships were still frequenting the Persian Gulf in the first half of the 15th century. And from the 11th century onwards, there were the Arabs who, together with the Gujarati Muslims, were gradually edging their way eastwards. The region's early trading partners had greatly influenced the early people of Southeast Asia's way of life, and these influences are somewhat common to the region and can still be seen today in their food, arts, culture, and religion. Indian influence and civilization in Southeast Asian region came during the first century. There are three theories postulated for the Indianization of Southeast Asia. The theory of Brahmin priest. The Brahmin theory credits the Brahmins with the transmission of Indian culture. The Brahmins are individuals belonging to the Hindu priest, artist, and teachers class. This theory was debunked, however, due to the belief that the Brahmins are very elitist as they are at the top of the Indian caste system, where the society is divided into four major castes: the priestly Brahmins, the Kshatriya warriors, the merchant Vyas, and the lowly laboring Sudras. However, Southeast Asia did not adopt this caste system. The second Indian theory is the theory of the Kshatriyas. The Kshatriyas theory presupposes that the Indian cultural expansion was due to the seminal influence of the Indian warriors and conquerors, who migrated to Southeast Asia and conquered the land through war. However, insufficient evidence could be provided to support this hypothesis. The third and final theory for the indigenization of Southeast Asia is the theory of bias. The bias theory postulates that Indian cultural penetration began with traders who intermarried local women and impressed the indigenous population with their goods and culture. Trade had been the driving force for the traders to move to different places and hence spread the Indian culture around. However, the merchants of low origin and caste would not have the extensive knowledge to pass on extremely complex expertise, as well as to have the legitimacy to install the rulers of empires in Southeast Asia. The kingdom of Srivijaya was once a great maritime trading empire in the early century. It is based on the Indonesian island of Sumatra and ranked among the wealthiest and most splendid kingdom during their time. Early records from the area are scarce. Archaeological evidence suggests that the kingdom may have existed as early as 200 AD and likely was an organized political entity by close to 500 years. Its capital was near what is now Palembang, Indonesia. The kingdom included parts of Sumatra, the Malay Peninsula, Western Java, Sulawesi, the Moluccas, Borneo, and the Philippines, most notably the Sulu Archipelago and the Visayas Island. And indeed, that latter island group, as well as its population, is named after the empire. Though the Emperor of Srivijaya was based in Indonesia, the influence was felt across throughout Southeast Asia: Malaysia, Thailand, the Philippines, Singapore, Myanmar, Vietnam, Cambodia, Brunei, Laos, and even faraway Madagascar. The decline of the Indian influence in the Philippines started with the arrival of Islam. After the conquest of the Philippines by the Spain to the present, Indian influence gradually withered away. But Indian culture and literature has traces in Filipino life, especially in the ideas, language, and the arts and literature of the Filipinos. Indian influence to the Philippines. There were many Filipino customs and cultures that were of Indian or Hindu in origin. The province of Sulu and the Visayas region were once center of trading in the country before. The empire of Srivijaya was so powerful that its influence extended up to the Bay of Malay, Sumatra, Ceylon, Java, Celebes, and Borneo. There is not much evidence found by archaeologists that proves the direct influence of India to the Philippines. However, there are evidences that the Filipino culture was indeed being influenced by them. There were many Sanskrit words that were mixed and used by the Filipinos. One example of this is the word Bathala, which is the term used by Filipinos to call their god. This word came from the Sanskrit word Batara Guru, the highest of all the gods in India. The oldest forms of writings used by our Filipino ancestors also came from India. In fact, many of our Tagalog words today are of Sanskrit origin. Some of these include asawa, spouse, puri, reputation, wika, dialect, guro, teacher, maharlika, noble, to name a few. The subjects and characters of our epics are similar to the Indian epics. For example, the subject and characters of the epic from Lanao entitled Darangan are similar to that of Indian epic. The Hindu epic entitled Mahabharata is similar to the Ifugao epic about their gods. The Ilocano epic Lamang or Biag ni Lamang is a similar structure with the Hindu. The Filipino fables such as Ang Lawin at ang Inahing Manok, The Eagle and the Mother Hen, Ang Unggoy at ang Pagong, The Monkey and the Turtle, as well as legends like Alamat ng Agusan, The Legend of Agusan, has similar to that of India. The industry of cotton weaving, boat making, and mining are all knowledge we learned from India. India also brought some of our well-known fruit-bearing, flowering plants and vegetables such as mango, jackfruit, sponge gourd, bitter gourd, and more. Even clothes such as the sarong, putong, bordadong balabal, which were used by many of our Muslim Filipino brothers, are all inherited from the Hindu. The use of the veil and cord and the splashing of rice during a wedding are all of Hindu roots. The bahala na attitude and the living of our faith to God are behaviors that we inherited from India. The giving of dote or dowry by the groom's family to the parents of the bride is a custom that we have probably inherited from the Hindu culture. Even some of our superstitious beliefs came from India. An example of this is when a lady is singing while cooking in front of a stove will marry a widower. Or a pregnant woman who eats a twin banana will bear twins. And if an occurrence of a comet happened in the sky means a war or calamity is coming.